Just preparing. All right, and we are live. Hello, you beautiful people. We are here for another session of Amplifying F Sharp, and it's good tradition, number 2 exactly, to have someone from the compiler team itself here for a session to talk about the latest release, which arrived a couple of days ago as an early, very nice, very sweet Christmas present to us nerds. Before we start, it's also good tradition to do a little bit of housekeeping for our needs of Amplifying F Sharp show. As you know, we are Amplifying F Sharp, and we are a community-driven initiative to drive F Sharp forward. We are doing sessions once or twice a month nowadays, and we try to really solve issues in the ecosystem, be it a bug or a missing feature. We are here to help people getting into code bases to do some real world work. So if you are interested in joining us for a session, check out our website, amplifyingfsharp.io. A good idea is to check out prior sessions to get a little bit of a feeling how we do things. So you know what you're getting into. Once you feel comfortable, reach out to us, to any individual of our group or to the whole group. Talk with us. If you have any questions, if you're still good, you can do a little web form here to talk about your session, your idea, and yeah, we will communicate with you the details of the session and prepare it. So that's pretty much it for the housekeeping. Today's session, like I said, is a very special one, traditional one. We will talk about the latest release of F Sharp, which is version 9. We have Petter here from the compiler team itself in Prague, and we have our own member, Edgar, here, who will represent the community side of F Sharp because it's a combined effort of the compiler team itself in Prague and the community to show out new versions of F Sharp. And so it's a good idea to show both sides of contributors. And yeah, with that, I give it up to Petter.
Hello, I'm Petter. I'm part of the F Sharp compiler and tooling team in Prague. And I will start this session by talking about some of the new stuff we have for F Sharp 9. Let me share my screen. Okay. And yeah, so we have this page now referred to in the documentation, which previously used to be a blog post, but now it will be all in this one place, listing all the new stuff in each version. And definitely the biggest thing we have is the nullable reference types, which actually maybe doesn't sound so big, but it took a lot of work of Tomáš pretty much to get this done. But we now have it, and you can have properly type checked null interfacing in F Sharp. So in case you missed yesterday's presentation on .NET Conf, maybe a little recap on how it used to be before, where basically F Sharp doesn't like nulls, but you still have to deal with them because you live on .NET, and sometimes you have to interact with other libraries that were written in C Sharp, and their null is a first-class citizen pretty much. So yeah, you just like couldn't in F Sharp you can't assign null to F Sharp types, but then when you interact with something like a string, then it can be null, and there's nothing you can do about it. And starting with the version 9, the type system actually knows about it, and you can denote it with this new syntax, vertical bar null. So it's kind of in line with the discriminated unions, and it talks with the base class library or any other library which has stuff annotated with nullable, and you can see it in the quick info as a /null on the directory, which is in the BCL. And basically, the F# compiler now will make sure that you don't mix things that can be null with things that should not be null. I guess I'm not going to go too deeply through this because you can look up the presentation from .NET Conf. But yeah, everything you would expect kind of works, such as type inference. So you don't usually have to actually annotate anything, and the compiler will figure it out if it has good enough hints from what it sees. So such as null assignment here, or here doing a null arc check, then the null will be inferred to all the places where it's needed. Yeah, works with generics, and it infers even like here some constraint. So there's a new constraint where you can say not now. Here you can see, hopefully it's not too small, that has been inferred for a dictionary key. And yeah, this makes it safer to interact with other code, but still the recommendation is you deal with this at the boundary. So wherever stuff is coming into your F# code, you hopefully deal with the nulls there. And for your beautiful functional business logic, you still use option. And then again, you can nullify things on the outer interface if your library that you're writing is supposed to be used from C#. Yeah, I guess there's some advanced stuff that we didn't get to in the conf, but we kind of don't encourage people to use null much. So maybe not even worth going over. Then another big thing that actually took a lot of work in this release is the real sig feature, actually. Here, which, well, it was in this PR, real accessibility, but I guess the final name is real sig, real visibility. Okay, and this is an interesting fix, which I can maybe demo a little bit what this is about. And this is this work in F#, where basically when you have a private value somewhere, due to the fact how this is code generated, if you use this F# library, in your solution from a C# program or other library, and it has access to internals, it is actually able to read your private stuff. So it can actually see the secret here. And that's, like, hopefully no one has been using this, but it's been possible this whole time due to some trickiness on class initialization, where basically it was kind of tricky how to do the initialization of these module level bindings, and so like the solution was make everything internal, even the private stuff, and it's due to the fact that how these are used, which is a bit different in C#, where they're initialized on the first instantiation of the class, but in F# they can be used, I guess, earlier than that, and the initialization has to be like properly ordered. Kevin, who did this, would tell you a lot more about it. But yeah, if you're just in F#, then you like we take care of it. We know it's private because we have some extra metadata, but in the actual assembly, it's internal. So when C# doesn't read our metadata, so it will just access it. And now you can opt into this. There is still a risk it will break stuff, so it's not enabled by default. But I encourage everyone to enable it to find out if it causes some bugs, or if you had in your code some misuse of this feature. Hopefully not. And then I think you have to build in order to get this usable from C#. Let's see if, oh, okay, and now no secret anymore. So just to be sure, can't run it because you can't build it. So yeah, go ahead and give this a try, and please report any bugs, because it's actually been a huge change to get this working. Also, doesn't look like it, but yeah, currently the module initialization is really tricky. And what else did we have? Then we had some interesting performance improvements. Pretty big one were optimization of quality checks, where Qt was made. It involved a lot of boxing in places where you didn't want boxing, such as when you're trying to specifically increase performance by using structs, but then a lot of common operations, such as contains or binding or whatever typical operations on collections, use equality, and they were boxing, and therefore like kind of undid what performance you were trying to gain by using structs in the first place. So this has been much improved. There's a whole article about it also on the .NET blog, and yeah, here we see some kind of benchmark. So like it helped a lot. You can see the allocations significantly smaller for this particular benchmarks, just because of boxing time as well. And another one for structs was field sharing for discriminant unions. So again, you're using structs, you probably want to squeeze the last bit of performance out of your program. And previously, you had to give a particular name to each case, and the size of your struct actually was like the sum of all of the sizes. Now, if they're the same type, they will reuse the same space in memory because it can only be one of them. So yeah, you can just use that much space. So you can see in this example, this is now 16 bytes, used to be 60 bytes. Yeah, and then another one we had from our team was actually, I don't know if it made it into this article, but there was this performance improvement, which involves lowering of string interpolation, and that basically goes and rewrites it to a string concat, which is faster in case that the interpolation in fact is a concat. So it only involves adding strings into the bigger string. and actually at most 4 strings. I don't know why that was this limit. Probably because you need to write all these cases. Yeah, so lowering basically takes expression of some types and rewrites it into other expression, which then has a better code gen and therefore can give you better performance. And then there were more lowering contributions from the community, which Edgar will talk about next. And maybe what I could add, there were also some improvements in tooling, and our team focuses mostly on Visual Studio. So one of the things is that now, by default, finally, well, actually, it's been for a while, but not in the previous F# 8, but in the time between then, in VS, you finally get what we call live buffers. So basically, when you edit files, it gets applied to the to the compiler automatically without having to save the file, which previously wasn't the case. And yeah, it could wreak havoc when you, for example, try to rename something but you didn't save some of your tabs, and it would work with the file system instead of what you actually wrote. So this is now by default enabled for everyone. Yeah, I think those were the main things we wanted to do. Actually, we had bigger plans for our team for this release, but then due to a mixture of fortunate and unfortunate events, we didn't get to all of it. So because our team was assigned some other agenda, unfortunately, other than F# as well, and yeah, also I was out for half year because I had a baby, so there was that. But we're continuing to work on stuff, and one of the big things that we really want to get in next is LSP, but maybe we can talk about it at the end, see what's going for next version. And now we can let Edgar show us the huge amount of community contributions that we received.
Thank you, Peter. Just from my side, basically thank you to you and the rest of the team for the help and attention given to the external contributors. That I think is, one of the nice things and important things that we do and we need to keep doing to be able to sync up with the rest and try to make more meaningful changes to the ecosystem, to the tooling, to the language, to all of that. So yeah, let me share my screen.
Will we have questions to Peter now or later?
Yeah, that's a good shout. Let's see if we have some questions on the chat so we can go up. Then David, could you do the honor?
Well, I would have one.
All right.
On that last page that you had on the screen, Peter, about the struct discriminate unions.
Mhm.
What is the thing about the same field names? I don't see that in the example.
Okay, let me just go back to that. So basically this, which you can write now, each of, so this is kind of the tag, but also this is a field of this case, and they can have names. And previously, when you used struct, you had to give it names like this if the type was the same, I believe. Like this just didn't compile in the previous version because I guess we didn't want to generate the names and we needed them because of how the memory layout was created. So before you were forced to give all the tags with the same type, distinct name, and then this whole thing would basically create like a slot for each of these values even though only one of them can be there at one time. So now you can not give it a name, and it will share the space.
But then the text above doesn't make sense, or does it?
Which one?
If fields in multiple cases of a struct discriminate
same name,
have
yeah,
the same
so-
name.
I guess this is redundant. Like they here, like no name is the same name. So,
Okay.
but actually, if you give it, probably if you give it a different name, then it won't be reused. But you know, anyway, like you just don't give it a name because you don't need to usually in this case. So, yeah, I guess, and then like each of them can have multiple fields. But yeah, this is the gist of it. But yeah, same name or no.
Cool. Thank you, Peter, for the explanation.
There was a
But
Jen-
sorry if I ask again here. That case without names was possible before, right?
No, it was not. It wouldn't compile without names. Well, it would if they had different type each, but if they have the same type, then you had to give them names.
No.
Well, if it's a struct, if it's not a
If
struct,
it was struct. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
this
Thanks.
is only about structs.
Yeah. Clear. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Martin, for your insightful remarks. That's good.
there was a question about the option of nullability. Will it be the default and turned on all the time, and the optionality of nullability go away, or will it stay an option in the compiler?
Actually, now it's opt-in.
Hmm.
I don't know if we have a long-term plan to make it default or opt out. Maybe, I mean, maybe it makes sense, but yeah, I don't know, to be honest. And Vlad said that Don votes for it to be the default. I mean, I think it makes sense. But yeah, we definitely are introducing it gradually. So now opt-in. I guess the same as with C#. I think there it's also not the default. I'm not sure. You have to say.
Okay, thanks. Right, I guess, Edgar, you can take it away now.
Yep, let me share my screen. So yeah, I wanted to cover the external contributions part. Yeah, and this year has been this version has been really productive from the external contributions point of view. I think around 65-70% of the contributions were driven by people who are using F# or they really like the language and they want to change things that they affect themselves or like other companies need to. So yeah, let's start by checking the issue that the F# team created for to make a tribute to the contributors. This was before in a blog post, but because of the new communication strategy, that's no longer the case. So this is going to be here. So I just wanted to highlight that the amazing work done by the community from the JetBrains team as well. They contribute a lot to the parsing and the parser and the F# compiler services as well. And this version we had Brian and Alex. Brian has been, I guess, the star of the this version. He just appeared one day and started to fix and improve a lot of stuff. So yeah, thank you, Brian. And just it's really nice to see that people around being around the repo or being around F# were encouraged to contribute thanks to the sessions that we have done and kind of maybe help them with a little bit of encouragement to do this. So yeah, thank you, Brian, for all the amazing work. And we as well Alex from the JetBrains team. Yeah, so much good stuff on the tooling from their side in F#. Yeah, so it's really amazing to have 3 different editors like Visual Studio Code with Ionide, Visual Studio, and Rider. So yeah, you know, there's no excuse not to try F# or not to use F# nowadays. So yeah, I guess what I wanted to do today is to go through the release notes, mostly about the language, the F# core and the F# compiler services, and kind of highlight some of the contributions that will make a difference for us F# users in our day-to-day. So if you are in F# and you are looking for new shiny features, and you know you're expecting F# to have like every version 10 or 5 new features, that is not the case. The evolution of F# and the it is based on the community. So that means that there is a ton of language suggestions that are being approved by the language designer, Don-Sign, and then it's on us, or it's on the companies that use F# to you know, take the decision on, yeah, I need this or I want this, and yeah, just contact us or try to get that stuff done using resources like us. So I prepared some code snippets here, and I have a console app that is in .NET 8, and I have a console app that is in .NET 9, and I will kind of see what are the difference. But let's go through the, I guess first the language the language release notes. I kind of see what we did or what the external contributors did, and kind of shows, you know, why is this important and what are the benefits for all of us. So I guess this was covered by Peter. So this is already explained. So there is now in what's new in F# 9, there is a new this new help directive in FSI, where you can look for the XML documentation on any function, and that is available for you. For example, in this case, list.map, you can pretty much now see what is the documentation for that without having to, you know, open a browser and just look for that, or go into the IDE. If you live in FSI, this will, you know, save you some time there. And on the back of this, there's also some work from the F# team, which was about allowing the support of directives without having to be like hash and then string and no one. So let me show you, for example, what I mean. So before you had this warning here that this will complain and say that invalid warning number FS0057, and this was a really weird warning because they should be valid. This is what the prefix of the error is. But if we go to F# 9 and we look for this, you will see that there is some point. I think I put it somewhere here. If not, let's do one thing. I will just copy this over, and then we can basically check it here. So now you can basically you can set compiler directives like no one with just the number with the 00 in front. You can specify the number with the FS prefix, so you no longer need to keep, you know, try and error until you find, you know, the right string for this, and you don't even, it doesn't need to be added even in quotes. So yeah, this was I think a huge improvement in my opinion, in collaboration with the with the feature that we added with the help directive, and this was thanks to the donors, the people that donated some money to Amplifying F#, the Open Collective. So David spent the time or implementing this in the compiler. Yeah, so if you want to read more about this, there is a specific blog post on enhancing help in FSI. So yeah, I will put it in the chat after this presentation. So yeah, what else? So we did some work on the attribute targets. So if you are a .NET developer, you know that you can create attributes that will be then will basically be used on a specific type. So you can define your own attribute inheriting from the system.attribute, and you can say, I want this to be only using a struct, and I want this to only be using a class. And so what we did was like enforce this properly. What I mean is, like, you see, this is the version 8, and there's no errors here. You can use a attribute that is supposed to be targeting only structs on a class and the other way around. So that is now in version 9, it will now complain and say, hey, please don't use this. This is not this attribute is not valid for this language element. So you can expect more like meaningful compiler errors here. This might produce some errors in your code if you are updating to F# 9, but I think this is the right thing to do. There's also a case where we created an attribute that should be only used on a method, which is a function in F#. And then, so here, if you, for example, use a library like XUnit or NUnit, and you are used to basically use the fact attribute to define a test, before those tests were ignored in your code base, and they will be passing, they will be green, or they will be ignored because, that's not the right attribute to use that. So if you miss that parenthesis on that test case, then that test is going to be hiding some maybe bug there. So now with the current version of F#, you will be shown a compiler error saying, no, this is not valid. You need to make sure that this is a function. So that we did that for functions, for union cases, for implicit constructors, for struct and classes. Yeah, that was basically the analysis for the attribute targets in F# were close to non-existent. So you can pretty much put anything on anything, and that was it. So that was my personal, I guess, battle with these attribute targets, because yeah, it really bothered me that there was no a real analysis for this. We also did fix some bug that was introduced, or maybe not a bug, but something that we did miss when we added the feature for in F# 8, which was about removing the need for the extension attribute on a type when you're using C# style extensions. So there was a bug where if you were trying to use a type that was from a different assembly, you still needed to add the attribute there. So that was fixed thanks to Florian, and yeah, we collaborated in this issue and we fixed it together. What else we did? I think these are my two favorites, to be honest. This is a case where I think there's a mistake on the release notes. This is on preview, shouldn't be here. But anyway, let's show this. This is about allowing object expression without overrides, and the the issue is that in F# 8 and still I think should happen in F# 9, you cannot just use an object expression on a abstract type that has a private constructor. And this is important because there's some libraries that you interact with in .NET, which they might have some functionality, some initialization that needs to be happening in the protected constructor. So the only way in the past, the only way to do that was by the only way to do this was to override toString or to one of the available members for this, which, this looks strange to me. Why would I need to, in order to be able to override to use an object expression, I will need to just add this as extra code. So we remove that. So I think I can demo that by basically showing here. So if I go to what's new and then change this to, so let's show what's the error now. Nowadays, what it says is invalid object expression, objects without overrides or interfaces should use the expression form type new args, and that if we change this to preview, we will see is that that error goes away. Made a mistake. Sorry. It is here. All right. So if we go to preview now, this is now valid code. So this is again one of these small things that that I guess really shows like the small details that are still can be fixed and can be improved in F#. So this is going to be available in, I'm not sure when, maybe .NET now F# 9 in one of the point releases, I hope. So yeah, I still have a lot to show. So let me check the chat. Do we have any question, David?
No questions.
Nice. So this is a contribution that was done by Brian, and I personally sponsor this contribution because I am the maintainer of a library called Fabulous. And in there, I really wanted to have a possibility to have empty-bodied computation expressions. And what that means is basically now you could do sequence and don't have anything on it, and this will be a empty sequence expression, the same way that you could do empty lists, empty arrays, and all of that. Now it is for you available to do that. I will demo this in a little bit. This also is interesting because in F# we love computation expressions, and there are UI libraries and DSLs that really use these extensively, myself included. So now if you implement your own computation expression, if you override, or if you implement the zero method, then you will be able to have these. So yeah, thank you, Brian, for this. And yeah, you did a really great job here. So let's maybe showcase this. If I go to version 8 and I go down here, we will see that I have a builder, and that this builder has a zero method implemented. And then we create a builder and then we try to use it and it says, no, bad luck, you cannot do this. But if we also do maybe create a sequence, it's going to say, no, you still can do that. You can maybe say, let's do a res and do a async. Then I do this, same thing. So this is not doable. And if we go to F sharp 9, and I think, yeah, I can leave the preview here. I don't think it would affect that. Now, if I go to here, you can see that we have a builder, and this is the same PR that I just showed you. You have the 0 method implemented on the computation expression. Then you will be able to have this empty, which is really nice. And if I go to here and maybe let's try sec s and then sec and then do this. Now you can have this empty. What about async? Can we do async? Yes, we can have async, and this will be now an async copy unit, because behind the scenes, what the compiler is doing is adding this here. So this is, in my opinion, kind of nice, because I don't really like before, where you could basically, you will need to, it will fail and it will just not show you anything there. What else? Another thing I can show from kind of in the same aura is there was a contribution that improved the performance for the yield for implicit yields when you are using computation expressions. And big shout out to this user of F Sharp from Georg Hazard. He one day just decided to show up in the repo and just check the performance of computation expressions using implicit yields from I guess his comments say it all. It went from too long to wait to a half a second. So he's a star. And as Jimmy said, he is the maintainer of F Sharp Data Adaptive. So he knows what he's doing. And just to showcase this, I guess nowadays I'm using Rida with the latest updates. So I guess I won't be able to show the delay of the IntelliSense, because that's no longer the case. This is now the fix is in and it's no longer going to wait. But this is for this case. So imagine you have your HTML DSL and you want to have this kind of nested structures. This will be really slow. This was really slow on .NET 8 and F Sharp 8, and now it's really it's more usable, I guess. So as you can see here, with this in conjunction with the feature of empty body computation expressions, kind of makes for a nice DSL. So I know some members of the F Sharp community, they have their libraries that use this, like Bolero, like Fabulous as well. This will be a huge developer experience improvement on their DSLs. So let's go back to the releases. What else we can also show? Yes, this one is essentially done in collaboration with the F Sharp team as well. In order to properly support the new FSI help improvements, we had to change how the parse hard directive are done. So this was a really nice improvement there. This is also available on in F Sharp 9, I think, and this is the ability to have modifiers in outer properties, getter and setters. So you can have public on a getter and then private on a setter, and that will work now, and that will give you the right right access modifiers and with the support for signature files as well. So yeah, thank you very much for this. Yeah, there was some multiple PRs, follow-up PRs that were done with this that now is, I think it's done. Yeah, we can maybe try and see if this is available on F Sharp. Let's try this. So let's look for a place here, put it somewhere here. This is F Sharp 8 and it's not available. And then if I put this at the beginning here, I would expect this to not be available yet. So this might be on, I don't think this made it yet, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's under a feature flag. It's
Yeah,
it's in the release notes because it was implemented, but it doesn't necessarily say if it's enabled. So
okay.
it can
Yeah.
be a bit tricky.
Yeah, this might be this one. It might be coming in the future. So yeah, this is also done in the, I guess, in the timeline, the F Sharp 9 timeline. So which is good. This is one of my favorite ones, to be honest. This is the ability to return bool instead of a unit option in active patterns. And this is yeah, so before you had to, if you have a partial active pattern, you will need to return value some unit and then none to describe, for example, if you wanted to check a boolean, you want to check for a bool, in this case, if x, it's this operation basically, and now you can pretty much just return bool. And I think I have some code to showcase that. Here it is. So before, you couldn't do this, whereas you are passing x as a string, and then you want to check if x is equal to string a, and that is giving you a warning saying, an error saying this feature is only available in F Sharp 9 or greater. So if we go back here, we will see that this is now working. So you can just return string. Sorry, you can just return a Boolean value there, and that should be available. Yeah, so yeah, I'll need to take some water. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. So this is also another contribution done by Kerams, as well as active member of the F Sharp community. And yeah, this is to enable the ability to auto-generate I guess, yeah, is union properties visible. So before, for example, if you want to check that in a map or in a choose or in a try find or a find, you will basically need to pattern match on that is on the whole discriminated union to just find out if that's to only care for the one that you are interested. But in F Sharp 9, there are already auto-generated fields for that. So let me show you the difference. So for example, this is taken from the blog post, what's new in F Sharp, that is in Microsoft and in the website. And basically here you have a contact, you have a person. And now if you're going to check, if you're going to access to the person, to the contact, and you just want to care like, hey, is it an email? And I'm not really interested on the field that carries, then I can just basically use is email, and that's not available on the version 8, but it is available on version 9. So this will, yeah, it's a nice syntax sugar that will clean up some of the pattern matches that we had to do in the past. So yeah, I really like this one. there are some more. I think this is also available, and this is done by Vlad, which is in the chat. So thank you, Vlad, for this. Yeah, this is mostly for interop between C#, F# with unmanaged constraints. I'm not a user of unmanaged constraints, so I'm cannot really explain what this is. But yeah, it seems like a good improvement for the on-interop story. Yeah, if you want to read more, please visit this issue. I will put it in the chat in case you wanted to read more about this.
There's a question about the auto-generated properties from Florian. How will it play with signature times? Do you know, or is it in the PR maybe mentioned how it is?
To be honest, I don't know the answer, but I remember reviewing this PR, and this was discussed in the PR, and there was some test added for this. So yeah, that's
Okay. Vlad answers it. It is implicit in signatures.
yes. Thank you, Vlad.
Okay.
So yeah, I think yeah, these are these last two are really like something that they are not like you don't need to care as a user when you are writing F#, but this is more about the improving the code generated when you use for loops in list and array comprehensions. And I think Peter mentioned on the string concatenation lowering that this is essentially going to rewrite this. When you use this, when you write this, it will rewrite it in a more performant way. Not sure, if it's longer or not, but yeah, it will result in better generated code that will improve performance. So yeah, thank you, Brian, for this. And these are hard to really demonstrate if we will need to open F# Lab and really do a deep dive on generated code and IL and all of that stuff. And it's Friday, and I'm not going to do.
I believe it previously used high enumerable interface, which has a bunch of steps like getting enumerator and whatnot, and most likely it's been rewritten to a true loop, which will be faster. But yeah, just a guess.
Yeah, one thing I really like about Brian's contributions that this is a requirement not only for him but for everyone that wants to change anything in the language that rewrites or affects this. They needs to all include benchmarks. So yeah, you can see if you're more interested in the numbers, are you going to go really deep and understand why, what was the difference. I will post this in the chat so you can have a look. But yeah, that is it for what was added in F# 9 from the community point of view. I will cover the preview maybe at the end, so we don't really go ahead of ourselves. So yeah, let me check if there's any question before I continue. No, I think we're fine. All right, so let's go to the F# core changes, and in here I think this is the yes, so these are the changes that were done in F# 9. Mostly there is the main changes were added was the enabling C# collection expression support for F# lists for sets, and this in a different window. And this is to enable, if you are in C# land and you want to use the C# collection expression support when you are consuming F#, you can do it like this. So yeah, I don't know exactly how was that looking before, but maybe we could look at some of the code here. it seemed like it was really more verbose, and now it's like, you know, as you will expect in F sharp, if you want to use some collection, you just use it like this. Yes, there were some, now they are available now, some module functions converting between T option and T value option. Yeah, that's available for you now to use in the new release of F Sharp Core. But I think I saw some conversation online and in the repo as well, where I think in F Sharp 9 or in .NET 9 there was some work done in the runtime level where there's pretty much no difference in the co-generated with option and the value option. So I think I don't know, it seemed like you can just use option for now, and yeah, and pretty much in most cases it wouldn't allocate anything. But yeah, there might be some scenarios, specific scenarios where value option is still usable, but yeah. And I don't see the changes here, but I remember seeing some random, I think, module or functions being added to the F Sharp core. Let's see if I can find them here.
Yes, that is definitely there.
Mm,
We have a bunch of
Right.
random functions.
Yeah, there it is. So this is sample. Where is this shuffle? Yes. So yes. So there was an update to the standard library about random functions for collection. So now, if you are a Python user and you are used to have these functions available on on Python, now you can also. They are now included in F Sharp, where you can random shuffle your collections, you can randomly choose your collection, and all of this. So this was a contribution from external contributor as well, and I just don't want to butcher his name, but Vladimir. So yeah, he did a great job taking care of the RFC, the implementation, and yeah, it's a clear example how if you want something done, you can basically, as long as it's approved, you can do it yourself. And that's I think the approach and the mindset that the F Sharp active contributors we have, which is we don't wait for anyone to really do this for us. If we need it and we know it, we do it. Right. So I think that is pretty much it. There's some changes done in real signature that Peter commented, so that's already done. So yeah, F Sharp Core doesn't change much, to be honest, because it's a really like a standard library, and we don't really want to add much stuff there. So it really needs to be a justify and really clear purpose why it needs to be added, because also the size of the standard library is getting bigger and bigger, and yeah, hopefully in the future there will be some work done to try to split that just to work in the infrastructure to be able to have features from Net Standard 2.1 and all of that, so that we can have a more complete, a more powerful standard library. But yeah, so far I think it won't change much. All right. Let me check what else do we have here. So many tabs open now that I don't even know where am I. So I'm going to do amplifying F sharp and then find it from here, because we have done so much that it's too have so many tabs open. So let me open this in a new window so we can see this in a different tab. So yeah, what we care about here is the 0.9, 0.100, and what was added here was basically this. To be honest, this is in F# compiler services, and this is not only available in F# 9. It was released. You know, you have been getting advantage of these improvements anytime that basically you use the version that it was released. And yeah, so it's difficult to showcase the difference on a IDE because that's part of F# 8 as well as part of the F# 9. I believe that's my interpretation of that. But just to highlight some of the improvements that were done here, it was more about type checking errors or improving the error reporting. And I guess one of the really like changes that I was really bothered by and my team were looking at was this kind of errors where you want to use a active pattern with more than 7 cases, and then you will be shown this kind of error message with this error range, which is like, yeah, showing everything, and you don't know exactly where you know that the bug is there, right? But what happens if you have some logic like in one of the branches here and there's an error as well there? So this was just by showing this wide error, we were just hiding, you know, other errors. So what we did is update the logic there, so we only report it when it really makes sense, which is at the moment that you are using. This is not the problem. The problem is here, and I guess I can show this. This was in F# 9, so. Yes. So for example, you have something like this where it's like active patterns cannot return more than 7 possibilities, and that is on this level as well as here. We also added a new error message where now we are clearly saying that there multi-case partial active patterns are not supported. You need to use a single case active pattern or a full active pattern. And before there was a generic error here where it's really confusing. It wasn't really telling you that this was not supported, but it was just telling you that the name is not the correct name. So yeah, again, one of the things that we did improve as a developer experience there. All right, so I guess yes. So yeah, a bunch of more like parser recovery errors that were improved by the JetBrains team, and some stuff that it's not really flashy or anything, but they will just fix some of the quirkiness that we found in the F# language. So this is also an interesting one. This is one where you couldn't assign a protected property on a constructor before when you were consuming an F# C# library. So for example, we have a class foo that has a protected value, and then when you were inheriting from this class, and then you wanted to add the value on the constructor, you want to do the assignment, you couldn't. All you had to do is basically do it in the do clause here, and this will work, and this will also work. And now with this change, what we did is basically allow this to work, so you can now have this, and then you can assign it on the constructor. I think there was a unit test somewhere here to demonstrate that. So yeah, that is it. So yeah, I think I will leave it here. If we don't have any other question or you have anything that you want me to show, let me know.
I think we are out of questions. I don't see anything on YouTube or in the chat here in the live session. So yeah, I think we can wrap it up for today.
Yeah, I think it will be kind of good to finish with kind of maybe talking a bit about what Peter said about the LSP and the transparent compiler. What are their plans on the LSP and the transparent compiler? Because those are the two. I guess the transparent compiler is an important part of how the tooling in F# will look like in a relatively short period of time, if that really makes it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know how long you usually do these sessions, but maybe a quick sneak preview of something that's being worked on for F# 10. So let me share again. So actually, in F# 9 also secretly transparent compiler is already included, and it's also available with a big warning here in Visual Studio for whoever wants to try it. And then which is basically a new architecture for the background compiler that runs in the IDE. And this one is using another great community contribution, which is the graph-based type checking, where it allows it to parallelize type checking based on dependencies inferred from the syntax tree, which was not possible in the current background compiler that we use. But let's say it's not fully stable, so use at your own risk. But if you do and it breaks, give us a bug report. But one of the big features we want to have for F# is LSP, language server, which basically we want to then everybody to use eventually. Like, we want to use it from VS, but we also want whoever else to be able to connect to it. And we want it to be powered by transparent compiler, so you get the performance benefits. But one thing that was missing in transparent compiler before was basically managing the state of your F# workspace, which in VS we kind of piggyback on Roslyn, which is C#'s compiler platform, which keeps the state for us of all the projects and the references and stuff like that. But we will not have it running our own language server. So we kind of started working on that. And so far as this type F# workspace, which actually recently we decided it would probably be good to move it to the compiler service library. And it could be like an alternative interface to access the compiler service, which now is just F# checker, for which you have to provide options for a new experimental F# project snapshot. But this workspace basically will be like a model of your solution or workspace where you can give it a project and then you can send it updates, and it will keep the state and will be able to provide snapshots to use for checking, or even directly you will be able to ask it some questions. And right now you can give it a project with something called project config, or basically just give it a list of compiler arguments, which can be produced by MS-Build or whatever other mechanism. And then you can open files in there and edit them, and it will propagate all the changes. And also it will maintain relationships between the projects when they are discovered. Such as here, you can add one project and then add another one, which has a -r on the first one's output file, and then it will infer the dependency, and we'll be able to deliver snapshots. And then also you can use this query thing to, for example, something like get diagnostics profile of a certain URI. So it's designed to support the LSP server, but can be used also just as an alternative interface, and it will take care of creating snapshots that can be used by transparent compiler, so you don't have to deal with it. Because yeah, with what we had previously, it was kind of a pain to deal with that, because they're immutable, and if you have 100 projects interdependent, and anytime some file changes somewhere, you kind of need to regenerate everything. So this will do it for you, but it will do it in a lazy way. So when you type in your editor, it won't be generating all the snapshots for everything that depends on the file you're typing in. But only once you request snapshot for some other project or file, it will then compute it on demand and cache it. So it should be hopefully easy to work with and performant enough. But yeah, this is the initial stage, but hopefully we will have a super stable LSP by F#10, and hopefully available to try before that. But yeah, right now everything's being marked as experimental in the compiler service. So if you can follow the changes, and if you want to try anything, do. But we don't guarantee that this is the best API yet. We will hopefully figure it out with the rest of the community. Yeah, so that's the quick preview of what's cooking for the next version.
Is the workspace thing targeting the LSP branch or the main branch?
At the moment, it's in the LSP branch, so you can get it there. Yeah, when it's a bit more polished and tested, and maybe we can merge it to main.
Because if it's merged to main, it could get into the nightly feed on NuGet, I assume. And that would open the door to play with it in, say, FS Autocomplete. And, well, basically, Jimmy, this might be a good time to express my wishes for Christmas. But if I could have this workspace thing in FS Autocomplete and the transparent compiler, and that will be such a leap forward. So no pressure to neither of you, but, Christmas present idea, just putting it out there.
At the moment, you have to get the code, build the DLL, and include it. So yeah, it's the most convenient, probably possible. But yeah, I mean,
what's wrong with my implementation?
Absolutely nothing. But I think it has some dependencies that might be a bit heavy for it for us. So this should have the minimal necessary code and baggage that we can do, and yeah, hopefully it'll be doable.
Yeah, I'm also really looking forward to the work that Martin is doing on the compiler as well, cleaning up some of the lexer and the parser as well with the no-worn features. So yeah, Martin, thank you for taking care of that, and looking forward to see that in F#10 or whatever that makes it in. It's really nice work. Yeah, nothing from me, to be honest. It was really nice. Thank you, Peter, for taking the time. Yeah, my wish for F#10 is more active contributors, more communication between us, the F# team, and the community, and yeah, let's try to help each other in whatever we can, and yeah, we are here to make our lives easier, not more complicated, and yeah. I guess we can also maybe use this time to really pay a tribute to Vlad. Vlad is going to be moving to a different position in Microsoft, but it was personally, I can say it was a really, really nice working with you. All of the reviews, the feedback done through the 3 years I have learned a lot thanks to you, and all I can say is that wish you the best, and join us in Amplifying F#. We can use all the help that we can, and yeah, but you have this is your house anytime you want, for a session or for just talk, or for a virtual coffee, anything, let us know.
Yeah, I think Edgar's wish will be fulfilled. Cool. Yeah, that's very exciting, Vlad. What more can we say and wish for?
Yeah, thank you a lot, Vlad. It's been wonderful working with you on a lot of the stuff, and for sure show up when you can.
Feel like saying a few words, the floor's all yours. But don't feel pressured as well.
Yeah, I'm on the conference. It might be a bit like can't talk so much, but yeah, thanks a lot. And I think Don's gonna send some communications soon, so I will be continuing doing together with Ramesh, continuing doing the language design and suggestions and specs, and hoping to contribute technical stuff, mostly the things I wanted to do, but it was not aligning too much with what we planned. So I will be a bit more free in what I can and cannot do.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds really, really good. A good outcome out of this all. And with that, I think we will wrap it up for today. Thanks for everyone who attended. Yeah, enjoy F#9. And yeah, we will see you next week with another session. We will do the whole social stuff soon enough, so you know what you can see next week. All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.